I need to say this about Hellblade 2 and all the over exaggerated copium that's been going on lately when it comes to this game and people on the Xbox or whoever it is talking trash, right? Or, for those that are just. Because I noticed the minute that there are people out there like me who are not being a fanboy, right? It's got nothing to do with, oh well, Hellblade's not on PlayStation anymore, or Hellblade 2's not on PlayStation, so we're just gonna say something bad about it. No, it's people like us. We're calling this game out on certain things for what we don't like about it. It's plain and simple. You know what I'm saying? You could take it or leave it. It's just what I'm saying is you're trying to use all these different excuses. Like the second or minute someone says that Hellblade 2 is a bad game or gives it a bad score or whatever it is, or a bad review or whatever it is, all like the one thing you all run to immediately is you saying, oh well, you're just you're just upset because it's not on PlayStation 5 or whatever it is. Look, I'm gonna say this, right? Because even though I also own a PS5 and Xbox 360, right? Even though I have a PS5, that didn't stop me from giving Spider-Man 2 a 3 out of 10. Yes, I gave that game a 3 out of 10. What I'm saying is, you know, at this point, you can already tell that you can use all the excuses you want to, but that's not going to stop people from telling the truth about certain games, especially Hellblade 2. Hellblade 2 is no exception. I will give Hellblade 2 a 7 out of 10. Understand what I'm saying is Hellblade 2, there's some good things about it, but there's a lot of stuff that's wrong with it that needs to be fixed, that should have been fixed. And to me, the developers, either they just wanted to go a different direction with certain things and how to fix things, and instead of actually fixing certain problems, or they just abandoned certain ideas, is what I'm seeing from the video game. I didn't play Hellblade 2, however, I did take the initiative to at least see at least an hour of or two of a playthrough that other people have, other people's gameplay of the video game Hellblade 2. So with that, there's definitely no excuses because I'm seeing enough of what is going on in the game. I've played video games long enough to understand what goes on in certain video games as well. That's a part of what I'm leading up to with my own profession. When it comes to studying on, making video games, or understanding certain things about video games, or I'm saying the whole thing about making video games or researching video games in general, right? Anyway, I'm saying, without getting into all that other stuff, back to Hellblade 2. Well, the best way I could put it is that Hellblade 2 is basically just overrated, is what I can say about it. People are just, to me, it's like people are overhyping the game. So, but I want to talk about the combat, right? So for my reason for why I say this game is a 7 out of 10. I acknowledge the fact that the game has good visuals, but even I can see the cracks in the visuals. What I'm saying is because it's 30 FPS, right? Right? So that's Microsoft's fault for doing that. I said, for the main fact for why it's for me, I'm putting a 7 out of 10 for the game is because Microsoft, and this is on you, Microsoft, by the way, when it comes to Xbox Series X, what I'm saying, you wanted to go ahead and put this game at 30 FPS, and you wanted to keep on capping, talking about it's better this way. Look, for certain people that give you certain reviews, especially when it comes to the graphics and stuff, that's on you, Microsoft. That's your fault. Now, other than just that, when it comes to the visuals, right? Because you could see this game, and when you played video games long enough, you're sitting there like, wow, if Microsoft wasn't holding this game back, which Microsoft, you're holding the game back, by the way. The graphics could have been even better when it comes to true next-gen graphics, right? Tying in with the gameplay. Now, other than the graphics, now I'm going to get to more of the gameplay. So, for me, when I played Hellblade 1, and I'm going to use Hellblade 1 a lot for an example versus Hellblade 2, is, when it comes to combat, you can't do what you used to do in Hellblade 1 and play that way in Hellblade 2. I'm saying is Hellblade 2, you had a lot of different variety. You had different ways of dealing with your enemy or your opponent and things like that, right? You had specific combat mechanics, right? What Hellblade 2 is more, it's more focused on executions. I'm giving Ninja Theory credit for that as far as different variety of ways of you can use executions. But what I'm saying is, it's like for the combat, to me, it's more focused on just getting the fastest or quickest execution possible, or what have you. The combat, it's like, to me, with the combat, the way Senua moves around in combat, it's almost like she's not only fighting for her life, but it's almost like it's just straight up out of desperation. Whereas in Hellblade 2, it's like she had way more confidence in how she was fighting and using her fighting and combat style. And then, like, in this game, you're using a sword that's more, it's more stubby. I'm guessing that's just to make Senua's, strikes faster, I would say. Other than that, actually, matter of fact, they could have actually gave Senua like a bunch of different weapons if they actually wanted to. And I'm not saying like weapons like a machine gun or nothing like that. I'm just saying like archaic, makeshift archaic, technological weapons. As far as, I'm not talking about like Zelda. I'm talking about like on the level of like of like indigenous, almost like using your environment to your advantage. Like Senua could be using traps or certain things like that, or using certain weapons like a semi-automatic crossbow type of thing, or explosive crossbow or something, like I'm saying, like explosive pellets or something like that, like a slingshot rifle or something, like what I'm saying, or sling rifle or what have you, or crossbow assault rifle or something, right? Because I'm talking, why I bring this up, because that's what because Senua is basically based off the character Kai from Heavenly Sword. Let's let's be real about that, right? Because you see how her weapon is. Now, of course, probably copyright reasons why they can't do certain things, but I do believe there are certain types of creativity that they could use for Senua if Ninja Theory really wanted to, right? Now, but other than all that stuff, right? So, like I was already talking about when it came to the combat, like the sword play and the mechanics and stuff like that. To me, it's like when the way Senua fights in 2, it's not as exciting. The executions are exciting, but just doing combat in general with Senua's weapons, or her weapon, I should say, it's not as fun. It's not as engaging as it used to be. You know what I'm saying? Now, other than that, I could see that Ninja Theory put some work into, like, for instance, the expressions of, like the enemies that you're fighting, giving them certain characterizations and things like that, giving them, giving the enemies more expression when they do combat. That each enemy fighting somewhat in a different way. Basically, is the way I explain it. Um, Things uh, that differentiates between certain characters or certain enemies, right? I will say that much, and then when we talk, then like the whole, I don't know, somewhat of the narrative that Ninja 3 is working on being a bit better. The best way I could put it is, you know, what Ninja Theory's vision for the game is. How, but other than that, I just felt like if Ninja Theory worked on games like Heavenly Sword and DMC, you'd think they'd make a better game out of Hellblade too. Now, of course, maybe they wanted to just go a different route, but it's kind of like, you have all this talent and you did certain things that, like, like for Ninja Theory, it's like they already have a good enough amount of, you know, people giving them input and feedback about what they liked about the games that they worked on before and what they didn't like. And they could have just took those two and combined those things together to make a more fun game if they really wanted to do that. I will say like the pairing system is more like precise. It looks more precise to me. It's more precision based. I can't say it's button mashy, I don't think. However, other than that though, but like I said, all these different things to put into consideration. But when I was watching this game, it's probably because I'm at work and I'm tired. Uh, when I was watching the game, like I was interested. I would say to me, the game was just dragging on a bit too much. Like I said, to let you know right now, I didn't get through the whole story. I only got to like 1 hour or 2 hours through the whole story. And what I'm saying is, me trying to binge that whole thing, I was already getting bored. I was getting bored because it's just like, not just like bored, but like getting sleepy and tired, and I need to switch to watch something else, for a while, whatever it is. The best way to put it to me is like getting kind of repetitive. What have you? It's just the best way to explain it is like too much walking simulator, basically. I know people want to, try to anti-complain about that, but the main point about this whole thing is, if you even want to talk, get into an argument about it, what I'm saying is, this game might as well have been a brand new movie. It's just like, why didn't Ninja 3 just turn Hellblade 2 into a movie? Is what I'm saying. Like, if it's like a simulator where to the point where I'm falling asleep, like, just make you should just made Hellblade 2 a movie. That's how I feel, right? I do appreciate the work that went into how some of the enemies fight, how they fight differently, especially like the one that uses like, fire breathing and things. I need to say this: you can't keep pulling the card and running to you're a Sony pony just because someone tells the truth about your favorite game. You can't keep trying to use Sony pony as an excuse for every time people use logic and tell you exactly why they don't like a certain game. Like, you're trying to make it way more deeper than what it even is. Like, you're trying to twist and turn it into a bunch of other stuff, and try to twist and turn and create the narrative of, oh, it's because you're a Sony pony. Come on, man. You got to do better than that, bruh. So the one thing I will say that for now, what I will say about Hellblade 2, at least it wasn't pandering like Spider-Man 2 with Disney. It wasn't, like Oh, like you know what I'm saying? It wasn't like Ninja Theory was like, oh, it's pandering time, and they pandered all over the place. What I'm saying is, at least for right now, I haven't seen anything like that. The only thing I've seen like that is from Spider-Man 2, where it's like they were just like pandering to like the limit, or pandering like sky high, if that's the best way to put it. Like what I'm saying is, I'm giving Hellblade 2 props for not doing that so far from what I've seen, but that's about it. You know what I'm saying? But other than that, this game is a solid 7 out of 10. I don't know what else to tell you, man. Fighting only one enemy at a time, you should have been able to uh, have certain sections where sometimes you fight one enemy at a time, and then there's a lot of times where it's more impactful when you're fighting like 4 or 5 different enemies, or however many enemies you're fighting at one time. And what Ninja Theory was supposed to do was fix the camera problems that Hellblade 1 had for the combat. That's real. Like, Ninja Theory had one job. They decided we'll just make it one enemy at a time. But, there you go, 7 out of 10.